Alright guys, well welcome back to another post-race tactical breakdown here of a recent Zwift race I did. Just starting out here, I'm actually just finishing up my warm-up. See, I'm 7.6 miles, about 23 minutes into my warm-up, which is what I like doing before Zwift races. I get on my rollers, and I usually do anywhere from a 20 to 30 minute warm-up prior to the Zwift race. And I should be any second now. I should be clicking over and entering the race. I personally like to use the Zwift companion app and basically enter the race at the very last minute. And what I pretty much do is I'm pretty much like, this race here started at 6:30. So basically at like 6:28 p.m. is when I, get onto my companion app, while I'm in the middle of my warm-up. I jump over to the companion app, and I will actually, sync into the race from there. That's just how I do it. I don't usually ever, pre-register for these races and then, have my avatar, sitting in the pen, for a long time. So you see the screen just came up here. So I'm just getting ready to get into the race, and you see it's the countdown there. It's a minute 40. So usually at about a minute 40 before the race is when I sync over into it. And again, it's just, all of us cyclists have our routine. That is just my personal pre-race routine, and whatever you want to develop as your pre-race routine, I would recommend having one. It just helps get you mentally prepared, for each event. So now this is the Sweat Fest Fall Winter Series. This is actually on I believe it was the Belle Lap course. This is a Criterium race, and I won't lie to you guys, this is only my second time ever being on this Belle Lap course. The last time I did this was literally last winter. I was going to do a Criterium race in here, and I literally came out of the starting gate too easy, and I honestly, God, truth, I got dropped in the first literally 10 seconds of the race, and I don't think I even finished a lap. So I'm coming into this race, and I really, honestly, don't even know the layout of the course. So my only goal here is, based off that one prior experience, is I know I got to come out at a very high rate of power, because these shorter Criterium events on Zwift are very fast starts. So I'm in the big, I shifted into my big ring, and I'm just now going to start laying into some power. As you see the power here start to spike up. I want to come into this race at very high power. And as you see, as things go, I'm over almost 400. I'm over 400 watts right out of the gate, because I certainly don't want to get dropped in the first few seconds here. So I come right out of the gate, 8 watts per kilo. I'm in a good place. Now I pretty much know, okay, I'm going to make this lead draft. Now I start dialing back the power, because I've got to pace my effort to make sure I can hang in here. Now again, I don't have really any prior experience on this course, so I don't even know the layout of the course, but I just want to make sure I'm doing a good job of staying tucked into the draft, and I can see right off that we're going to be coming into an uphill section. So you should see my power here start to pick up a little bit, back up approaching 200, over 300 watts. And again, guys, early in the race like this, especially for these first couple of laps, where I don't really even know where the next corner is going to be, or when we're going to hit a grade or anything. So my only goal right now is to just stay in this lead pack, monitor the front of the field, and just try to be observant for any attacks that might come, and just be in a position to go with any attacks. Now you'll see my avatar here went to the front, but you'll see as soon as I get to the front, I take the power off. I don't want to spend any time at the front unless I'm making an attack or trying to follow an attack. So right now, if I end up at the front, you're going to see my power come off, and I just want to draft in here. Now you see cadence is hovering in that mid 60s. As I told you guys in the last video, I am primarily an out-of-saddle rider, so I pretty much ride out of the saddle for these Zwift races for pretty much the whole race, and this was no different. Out of this Criterium race here, I want to say maybe a total of a minute of it I was, seated, toweling off, eating, drinking, stuff like that. But I'm pretty much out of the saddle for basically the entire race. See, my heart rate is mid 160s, which again for me, my maximum heart rate is anywhere from 197 to say 200 beats a minute. So at mid 160s, I'm certainly well within myself here. You see watts per kilo is around that 4 range. And what I've been doing here these first few laps is, again, I'm just trying to make mental notes of how this course is, because like I said, I don't have any experience in this course because I have always avoided criteriums on this course like the plague. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because this is the first race in this February Empire State eRacing series that's going on that I registered for. So obviously this is part of the series, so I need to do the race. So, but again, my only goal here early on is to just get a layout of the course. Now they're very short laps. I've been just taking mental notes of how this course is laid out, and I'm taking an inventory here on the right hand side, and I'm looking for guys that I'm recognizing as being in this New York Empire State series. And the only one that has caught my attention is immediately being in here, again, is this M. Hogan rider, who's also got the Empire, wording there after his name. So obviously I know he's in this field. So I'm keeping pretty close eye on him and just kind of seeing what he's doing. And obviously he will be somebody that I will certainly be cognizant of to see, if he, was to make any attacks or if he was to join some guys making attacks. Now you see my heart rate has picked up here into the mid 170s. So, this is kind of getting into that certainly more of a tempo type effort. You see watts per kilo here is, up mid upper 4s. So the pace here has been very steady. It's been a very steady pace. There's been a lot of surging, and that's been one of the things that kind of trips me up the most with these Criterium races is all the surging that happens. My power profile as a rider is not really geared towards, and I don't do well with the constant surging back and forth. Now you see in the map in the top right hand screen there, the map, you can see we have got a couple of guys here. Looks like 2 or 3 guys here are shelled off the back of the group already. But so far, I've been doing well in here, staying in the draft. Again, early on like this, we're on lap 2 of 16. All I've been doing here is just trying to study how, what the course actually is, where the climbs are, where the descents are, where the flatter sections are, where all the turns, how they go. And I'm trying to see each lap where guys, are or aren't looking to put in effort so that I can appropriately respond and get myself situated. So again, here early on, I'm taking inventory of who might be in this Empire State Series along with me, and I'm just staying in the draft as good as I can. See, heart rate is back down into the upper 150s, so I'm certainly back. I'm not going to say outright comfortably, but I'm certainly in no fear or no danger of getting dropped here at this point. I'm basically just doing what I have to do to set in the draft, monitor possible attacks, and learn the course. And now you see here we're on lap 3, and now obviously this is our 3rd time up this little rolling climb here. I'm already starting to realize, okay, this is basically like the only even relatively, sustained, type climb on this course. This is, this climb that we just did, and this little 1% here finishing it, is about the only place on this entire course that, quote unquote, suits my riding style to any degree at all. So I'm already diagnosed this, that climb as a possible place where I could attack or potentially look to make a move or make a bridging effort, something along those lines. So I've already got that kind of mentally queued off, as that's going to be like my place to look to benefit me as a rider. And another thing that I would recommend, doing, for any of you, lighter weight guys like me, like I said, I'm 120 on this. I mean, actually today in this race, I was 123 pounds. So if you're a lightweight rider and you're probably going to get beat on just raw wattage, one thing I like doing in a Criterium race, whether it's a real life Criterium race or a Zwift Criterium race, is try to find that course feature that suits you and use that as like your place to reestablish baseline. And I've already got that short rolling climb established as my place to reestablish baseline. And like I said, have that queued off as a place where I can either make a bridge if I need to, at least try to make a bridge, or use that as my place each lap to get myself back up towards the front of the field, to just put myself in a good position to potentially have to respond to any kind of attacks that might come. So again, heart rate here, 160, watts per kilo has been in, it's been in that, lower 4 to mid 4 range. Again, cadence, as you guys have seen here, has been pretty steady, mid upper 60s. I've been pretty much out of saddle this entire time here. And we're getting back on that climb here for lap 4. And as you can see, it looks like we've got a couple guys here trying to make an effort. We got a guy going solo here now off the front. So right here, I'm like, okay, I got to get onto the power and make sure that I'm with this potential move, because I don't want 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other guys trying to bridge up to that effort. And you see another guy here is making a strong effort towards it. See power here, up around 8 watts per kilo. These guys are trying to force a break at this point. So I'm just keeping myself in a good position to where I can respond to it. I was feeling pretty, capable there, so I went and closed it off. And here comes a couple of counterattacks right after it, which is another big thing that happens in crit races, is guys will counter a previous move and try to make that their breakaway, place. And now I can see that this M. Hogan rider, a guy in the Empire series, is trying to follow this counter move. And you guys see my power and my heart rate is now upper 180s, and power is up around 370. I'm like riding really hard at this point to try to, get this closed back down. You see heart rate, I believe it's going to hit 190 here at some point, or maybe it's a little bit later on. But so we were able to kind of reclose on that counter attack that was made. And now it seems like kind of, cooler heads have prevailed here for a minute. And you see my heart rate now is generally starting to trend back downward. So the pace has certainly eased up a little bit. And pretty much those few attacks there just kind of got minimized. And, so now we've got kind of a, the deck kind of reshuffles here at this point, and it looks like everybody's kind of content to just kind of sit in here for a minute and kind of reestablish, everybody's game plan. And I'm sure all of these riders in here at this point are kind of reestablishing their game plan and what they want to do, and I'm doing the same. And again, and by this point here, by lap 5, now I've got a pretty good feel for how this course breaks down. I pretty much know the course at this point. Again, and we're coming back up to the climb here. This is like my place. And you'll see every time we get to this climb, you'll see that I kind of get, I use this as my place to make sure that I get right up, at the upper end of the field. Because again, this is the part of the course that favors my strengths as a rider. So I want to use this as my place each lap to make sure that I keep myself in good position. So I can see here very clearly that there's no real major attacks coming. So we're just pretty much riding this at a steady tempo. So I can just sit in here. And another thing I want to show you guys here, if you look on the right hand side of the screen, obviously you see the everybody's name and their watts per kilo and stuff. So one big thing that I do in any Zwift race, and especially in these Zwift races, is I'm just keeping an eye. Now, Zwift does a good job of showing you kind of who the leader, like right now, M. Hogan's at the front. So when he's at the front, all I'll do is I'll just, every few seconds, I'll take my eyes and I'll just cue into what his current watts per kilo are. And until I see something crazy like, 6 or 7 or 8 or, 8 plus watts per kilo, until I see that obvious attack, I pretty much know if I just, ride that 4 to 4.5 watt per kilo tempo type, type pace, that I'm probably going to be able to hang in the draft, pretty reasonably. See my heart rate's back down to the low 160s. In the last, lap or so, it looks like everybody has kind of cooled back down. Now, again, the whole time I am certainly being cognizant of, an attack coming, and I'm pretty much prepared for there to be an attack at literally any point in time here, because that's what usually happens in these Criterium races is, guys, look to attack, and then usually once that's closed down, you've got guys looking to counter immediately. That's how gaps are usually established in a Criterium. Is it's usually not the first attack that creates the gap. It's once you get that closed down, it's that second or third counter attack that comes from behind. Those are the ones that oftentimes are the ones that create the initial gap. Now again, as far as my ultimate strategy in this race, you guys, saw in the last race that I was looking to make an attack and break the field up. I pretty much know in this Criterium race that I'm going to have very little opportunity, if any, to really, truly, break the race up at all. So again, my only goal here, honestly, at this point, is to just sit in the draft and just look to go with whatever moves might possibly go. Now you see we got guys here up 9, 10, 8, 9, 10 watts per kilo. There's another attack going. So, boom, I'm onto it. Power again is going to be up, up around 400. Now I'm well over 400 watts. I'm up around over 500 watts. 2 guys are going. That's a very dangerous move. Now I'm thinking, okay, this is like a very critical point in the race. This is like a very critical point. If I can, I want to bridge this effort. And guys, right now, I won't lie to you. Right now, I'm thinking, I don't think I can bridge to this effort. Like, that was a huge dig I'd put in going over 500 watts. And right now, I can't make this solo bridge. I'm looking for help from behind. I get it here. As soon as that rider goes by, JR, you see my power comes back up because now I need to try to close onto his draft and have him assist me in closing the gap, and it worked. We caught one guy. Now JR goes right through, and I just ride his coattails for a bit. And now again, I'm able to come by him, and now I'm closing on this other leader, and this is M. Hogan. This is a guy in my race. And as soon as I catch him, I'm gonna go by, and now I make an attack. I'm thinking, holy cow, we've got this field split up, and here comes another counter attack from this pro sandbagging rider. Now he's going, and I can clearly see in the map, this field is starting to break up, and we have got a very obvious 2 or 3 second gap to some riders. This is a very serious attack, a very serious move. Here would be a golden opportunity for me to get a top 5 finish in this race. So if I can, I want to make this move. And at this point, I'm just using M. Hogan and JR here to help me close back down to this lead rider, and I'm feeling pretty good here, and I'm thinking I might make an attack here, because I want to try to keep this 1 or 2 second gap that we've got over some of these guys. And now that we're coming into this hill that I've already established as like my place on this course to make a move or that works to my suitability. So as soon as I catch on to pro sandbagging, again, here we got more guys coming. Now you see the field, boom, everybody kind of closes right back up instantly. And just like that, that 1 or 2 second gap we had was closed up. And now we've still got guys. This isn't a brutal attack up this climb, but I'm very quick to close it down. And you see I come by everybody here. And you see I took the power. See, I took the power way off. Now my power, I haven't been 200 watts since the start of the race. I've got no interest at this point in being up front. So as soon as I just hit the front naturally through the draft, but as soon as I got to the front, and with that many guys, still with me in this race, I've got no interest in being up front, dishing out pace when I've got literally, 12 guys, 13 guys on my wheel. No thanks. I get right up the front and I get back into sitting in and trying to reestablish, reestablish myself in the draft where I can, again, look to either follow another potential move or maybe somehow possibly make a move of my own if the opportunity presents itself. I mean, I'm not totally against. I mean, I'm certainly willing to push the envelope if an opportunity just kind of presents itself. I'll certainly try to capitalize on it, but I'm not looking to force the issue per se with this many guys in the pack in a Criterium race, because it just simply isn't, my strength, and it's not going to put me in the best chance to get a good finish in this race. At this point, for me personally, I still feel it's in my best interest to sit in here and just see what happens with the field as the race goes on. So we are now at lap 7. We got 11 miles to go. We're just about the halfway point, center of the halfway point. See, my heart rate now is actually back under 160. So again, the pace has eased up here the last few laps. Everybody's kind of, quote unquote, mellowed out here a little bit. There hasn't been any, drastic surges here. I've been able to sit back in, reestablish some recovery, and get my legs prepared to go with, any potential moves. Again, it's been a pretty low last few minutes, so I'm expecting for another attack here to come at any point in time, and just trying to make sure that I'm prepared for it. So we're back on this climb here. Again, I'm just, sitting comfortably in the draft. Again, just doing whatever power I have to do to stay in here. I'm not looking to, stretch things out, so to speak. And you see, it looks like I got another rider here. Pro sandbagging up around 11, 10 watts per kilo. See some guys are going with him. We got 3 or 4 riders putting out orange power numbers. Another serious move. This is something I need to pay attention to. Guys are going to look to break this race up. The field is stringing out. So right now, I'm over 400. I'm approaching. If I'm over 500 watts, I'm almost basically VO2 sprinting here for me, because I've got to stay with at least these couple of guys here in front of me to hopefully close back up. Now you see, I'm back up in the top 3 or 4. We got a couple of guys here coming back to us. We got 2 guys up the road, and at this point, I am trying to make a bridge effort over to these guys. And actually, based off my power here of 280, 287, 290, I'm basically just riding threshold at this point, or just a little bit under threshold. Because, again, I'm still looking for some help here. And I'm thinking somebody's going to want to be wanting to help me. And sure enough, here comes 3 or 4 riders. 5, 6 riders now. It looks like things are going to get closed back up. So, again, my only goal here is to kind of reestablish sitting in, because this attack here is probably going to go for naught. Now I am keeping notice here. I just noticed here. I saw that M. Hogan, one of the guys in the New York State Series, with me. I saw he was a second back. So, and now I'm at the front. So now I'm at the front because I see, like right now, I see M. Hogan Empire is 2 seconds back. You can see the gap visually now in the right-hand corner of the screen. So I'm thinking, here's the only guy I know of in the Empire State E-Series with me. I'm gonna try to put in a dig here to see if I can basically get him dropped. I mean, if I can dish out enough pace to get M. Hogan dropped, I'm willing to almost sacrifice a little bit of my chances at the overall win if it means establishing a gap here over M. Hogan. So I am riding, you guys see here, heart rate 190. This is getting into a very hard effort for me. 191 now heart rate, 365 watts. This is a very hard effort. I am actively trying to drop M. Hogan here from being able to catch back onto this lead pack draft. So, and I can see that this bunch is, about 30 to 35 meters behind me. They're 2-3 seconds back. Again, guys, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're just over the halfway point. I really don't think I've got any chance of holding these guys off. And if it wasn't for trying to just drop this M. Hogan rider, who I'm competing against in this series overall, I would not be making this effort right now, because I don't think I've got any chance of holding this or extending this to the line. This really is nothing more than an attack to break up the field and drop M. Hogan, which I can see that I'm having success with this. The gap to those riders back there continues to grow. We got some of those guys are now not over 9 seconds back. So again, you just saw the message pop up there from Pro Sandbagging, basically saying, I think he was trying to say there, is everybody in if I try to bridge to this guy in the lead? He's basically trying to get everybody on board. Hey, I'm going to try to bridge. Let's bring this guy back in. But again, I'm just looking for M. Hogan's name here and trying to see how far back he is. I don't see his name here registering up in this list. So I'm thinking he might be one of these guys 12, 15 seconds back. If so, I have just done my job. I just assisted in getting him dropped. So you guys will see my power. You see my heart rate now has come back down to 178. In the last minute or so, I have dialed my effort down to basically a threshold type effort. And then we're coming just so I can kind of maintain this gap and just kind of further extend dropping this Hogan rider. Again, I don't think I can hold these guys off, but I'm back on the climb, which is a good part of the course for me. So I'm going to put in a little bit of a dig here because I feel capable. I'm going to put in some effort and just see. Who knows? Maybe the gap goes to 50 plus meters and I get a 5 second gap. Who knows? I'm on the hill. It's my strong suit. I might as well put in some effort and just see what happens. Everybody kind of covers it. The gap stays about 30 meters. And I'm still thinking, all right, I really don't think I can, have any chance here of holding, that pack off till the end of this race. You see I take the power off here a little bit, back into that, very steady tempo type effort. My heart rate was just 191. I had done a pretty hard dig there up that hill. So I'm just at this point, I'm just kind of fluctuating based off, when I feel capable. I'm just kind of fluctuating between, a threshold effort and a little bit above threshold. Again, just trying to fully cement that I'm going to have, some other riders and hopefully this M. Hogan dropped off of this main pack. And I see the gap here to the pack here is now, 35, 40 meters. One guy's coming. But right now I'm thinking, okay, I really don't think I can't hold these guys off. Now I'm thinking, well, maybe if this Pro Sandbagger guy, no, as soon as I see him, I see two more guys. Well, now I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm going to try to, now I need to get in with these guys because these guys are now making an effort. If I can team up with these guys, maybe now the three of us working together can hold everybody off. So now I'm certainly willing to swap with these guys. If they're willing to work with me, I'll certainly be willing to work with them in seeing if we can, get a bigger gap here on the rest of the field chasing. I'm certainly willing to try. Right here, I do remember, kind of wanting some help here from these guys. Like, all right, I just was off the front for a while. If you guys can give me a little bit of help here, I'll certainly be willing to come through in a minute or two. Just, hopefully give me a little bit of rest. Now we're coming back to the hill here again. We're on lap 11 of 16, and again here you can tell by the power. I'm over threshold. I mean I'm trying to see if we can hold off the rest of this pack, but I can see in the screen, I can see in the map that the rest of the pack looks like they're closing on us. So I don't think we've got a chance of holding these guys off, and it looks like we're going to probably regroup. And you see I got more riders coming here, and I think this is where it pretty much gets closed back down. Right here, pretty much everybody's kind of back together. You can pretty much see it in the map. I think here I was still kind of holding on to some last-ditch hope that maybe we could possibly, get away again, but that was very short-lived, and I think right here is where I realized, okay, everybody's back. Yeah, right here I know, okay, pretty much everybody's back on. All that effort and attack. The one thing I did gain out of that is, you can see here, I can visually see M. Hogan 57 seconds back. Boom. That is a win for me in this race. I just, certainly helped, keep the pace high. And a goal of mine for this race, one of my goals for this race has already been achieved. We were able to get, the one rider that I recognize as being in this E series with me here for the Empire series. I see that we've got him dropped now. He's over a minute back. His chances of getting back on with 5 laps to go are pretty much non-existent unless something drastic here happens, which, I'm pretty confident it's not going to happen. So at this point now, my mentality goes to, okay, I've seen, we've succeeded in getting rid of, the only Empire guy that I'm aware of anyways in this race. He's off the back. I've made this lead split. We got 5 laps to go. What is going to put me, as a 123-pound rider with a, 10.7 watt per kilo maximum 15-second sprint, what is going to put me in the best position to try to do well and maybe somehow possibly win this race? At this point, I'm thinking it's in my best interest to just sit in here, sit in the draft, try to get some recovery, and still with 4 laps to go, just try to be observant and just be cognizant that further attacks here should be coming, and just try to keep my legs, in a position to go with an attack should one come. And again, I don't know if an attack's going to come or not. I'm basically putting my chips in the bag of 1 or 2 guys here are going to try to break from the field. And if I can latch onto their coattails, so to speak, I might be able to eke out a top 3 or top 4 or 5, position just by catching on to a break. Now I see a couple of guys going there with orange power. 3 guys now going. So now I'm thinking, all right, this might be something I got to keep an eye on. And I'm getting myself in the draft here. My power's up around 370, 360. And we're coming into a downhill section here now. Now I'm back at the front. Again, I just want to keep the tempo steady so that we can hopefully catch these guys back up again. And I'm going to continually have riders come by me here and assist in the. So at this point, I'm thinking we're going to definitely close these guys back down. I don't think those guys are going to get away. So at this point, I'm just like, all right, I'll just sit back in here in the draft, try to get my heart rate back down a little bit, take off some power, just sit in here, try to recover a little bit, and again, reassess. Okay, now we're getting down to basically 3 laps to go, basically. Okay, now what's going to put me in the best position to do well here with 3 laps to go? Again, at this point, I don't think, just based off how the race has gone to this point and based off, how I was feeling, I did not think I was going to have the capability of doing any kind of a 3.5 lap solo effort. So the only card I've got to play at this point for myself personally is to just sit in the draft here, try to stay in good, upfront position in the draft, and just, try to be in a position to respond. Should a move go up the road, because at this point it's down to 1. I mean, you got probably, what is there, 9 of us in here, 8, 9 of us in here. It's down to the final, 8, 9 guys, for the overall win here. At this point, I'm just trying to finish as high as I can out of these guys, because I don't know if any of these other guys could possibly be in the Empire series that they just don't have, the Empire after their name. I don't know if that's the case or not. So I just want to try to finish as well as I can amongst these guys, just in case that is, the case. So we just came up the hill. We're now under 3 laps to go, 4.5 miles. Again, I'm still thinking there's going to be a big attack or 2 here left. There's got to be. This is a Criterium. We've got like 8, 9 guys up here in the front. There's no way these guys are not going to start throwing haymakers at any minute. And again, I don't want to be throwing haymakers right now because I don't want to get, I don't want to put my legs in a position where I'm going to get, caught out. So you see now my guy's at the front, but you see my power at only 225. I'm taking it off 212. I'm dropping off power. I've got no interest in being at the front here because it just does not, it's not going to improve my chances of doing well. So I take off the power, let these guys come back around, and as soon as they do, I re-snap into some power, just enough to get, keep myself established in the draft. We're coming up here on just 3 laps to go. We're on lap 13 to 16, 4 miles. Again, we've still got the same group. Now, we haven't had any major attacks here in the last few laps. And I can see here visually, I can see M. Hogan is now almost 2 minutes back. So, obviously, we continue to put more time into him. But at this point, like I said, he I pretty much, stopped looking to see where he was because, with this late in the race and that far back, he really's got no chance of getting back on. So I know I've got him covered for this race. So again, my mentality here is still, all right, what do I have to do to try to finish as well as I can amongst these guys? Now, you guys will probably have seen throughout the race a lot of power-ups being used, but you probably haven't seen any from me. And the reason why that is this whole time, you see in the screen there, I have been sitting on this truck, on this dump truck power-up the whole race. Haven't used a power-up the entire race. A couple of reasons for that. A, like I said, I'm an out-of-saddle rider for 98% of this race. I only sit to towel off and eat and drink. So it's very difficult when I'm out of the saddle. I can't strategically use a power-up because I would have to sit down to use a power-up, and that would just mess up my rhythm too much. That would just mess up my riding rhythm too much. But I feel it would actually be a detriment to me to try to use a power-up. I feel I'm actually better off to just stay out of the saddle and just focus on my effort and staying in the draft of whoever is using a power-up. So that's the main reason why I haven't used any here. But also, if there is a power-up that's going to be good for me coming to a sprint finish, it's going to be this dump truck power-up. And the reason why that is because this dump truck power-up lasts, it is the longest lasting power-up, and it increases your ability to draft off other riders. So if I save this power-up, I'm basically saving this power-up just in case this does come down to a sprint finish, which it's looking more and more like it's going to be the case. I'm saving this power-up because I feel this is the best power-up for me to have coming into a sprint finish, because I'm going to be able to, once I get under, basically under 0.4 of a mile to go in the race, I can sit down, hit that dump truck power-up, re-stand back up out of the saddle, and that power-up should last long enough for that last sprint finish to take place. So I'm saving the power-up for that reason, and the fact that as an out-of-saddle rider, it's very difficult for me to even hit power-ups, especially strategically at perfect moments. So we're on to lap 14 of 16, 2.7 miles to go. Again, there hasn't been any major attacks here the last few laps. It's looking like everybody is just going to be willing to sit this thing down for a sprint finish, which again doesn't really suit me, honestly. But at this point, if the only card I've got to play is hitting this dump truck power up with about 3/4 of a mile to go, and then just doing the best I can in a sprint, well, then so be it. I've still had a good race. I've been able to hang in here with the front pack, and I've got some time into a known series rival. So far, this has been a pretty good race for me, honestly. But again, my main focus here is still just drafting. You see my heart rate's in the upper 150s, power 220. That's certainly a manageable effort for me. We're coming back into the hill. Again, I'm just trying to stay at the upper end of things, and I'm just being very cognizant, should a couple of haymakers start going down. And again, I'm constantly keeping tabs on the right side of the screen. I'm keeping tabs on the watt per kilos. And once I start seeing orange numbers flashing, I know I got to start getting into some power because some guys are making attacks. And up this climb here was pretty much just a high tempo effort. Again, looks like, I mean, the way I was seeing this, it looked like everybody was just pretty much going to be content to let this race come down to the final sprint. But again, at this point, I don't have any other card I can play. I can't just solo off, for 2-3 laps on this on these guys. I just don't have it in me. There's no way that's going to work for me. And if I try doing that, I have a 99% chance of getting reeled in, countered, and then pretty much passed by all of the remaining guys in this pack and finishing at the very last of it. Whereas if I sit in for the sprint, I'm more than likely not going to win on my 10.7 watt per kilo sprint. But with that power, with that truck power up, in a good sprint, I might be able to beat a few of these guys. So in my mind, that is still the best card I can play, other than trying to ride somebody's coattails if they will try to make, a 2-lap break. But so far, nobody has really tried to push the envelope here too much. And at this point, I'm really only playing the only option that I feel I've got, which is basically just sit in here, try to recover as much as possible, and just do as little as possible until this is going to come down to a sprint finish. Now we're lap 15 to 16, just over a mile and a half to go. I'm pretty much, saying, all right, this is going to come down to a sprint. And at this point, I remember in the race, I was basically, using this moment to grab a swig of water and get myself toweled off and just kind of get myself mentally and physically prepared for the fact that this is going to come down to a final, 15, 20-second sprint more likely. But I still need to, make sure that I'm keeping myself, good enough in the draft here should somebody try to make a mile break of it here. Now we're coming back up to this, for the last time here, we're coming back up to this climb. This is our last time up this climb. And again, now right here I'm thinking, okay, somebody's got to make a break here. This is the last lap. It's the last climb. Somebody's going to go for it right here. And I'm thinking, man, should I go for it? Should I try it? Should I try it? And right here, you guys see, I try it. I'm like, I'm going to try it. I mean, here I am, over 500 watts, 540 watts, and I can see I've got this pro sandbagging guy coming with me. I can see we got a little gap here. We got 9, 10, 11 meters. I'm like, all right, guy, come by me here. Give me a little bit of help. And you can see he was quick to sit on me. And I'm thinking, I needed you to come by me for us to have any chance. I really needed you to come by. And you see, I'm keeping the power up. But right now I'm like, all right, there's no way this is going to work. So I immediately take the power off. And now I'm thinking, okay, 100%. I've got to, get myself, find the place to sit down where I can hit this power up. And in the meantime, I got to try to get some recovery. Because again, my heart rate here is 190. I mean, I did make an attempt to force the issue on that last climb. It's just that the guys did a good job on being attentive to it, and they did their job to make sure I wasn't able to get away. So now I've got to do what I got to do. And you see my cadence just hit 83. I am now sitting in the saddle, and I just hit the boost power up. That's why I sat in the saddle. I'm going to hit that boost power up, and it should last until the finish. And now we've got one guy here flying, and now I'm, back up out of the saddle. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm just trying to basically pick the best moment to go. You see my power here. I'm still not full speed. I'm still thinking I got a little bit of time, and now I'm going for it. Now the power is really up. We're down to just 600 feet to go. Max sprint effort, heart rate 190. And how am I going to finish? I'm just trying to get the best finish I can at this point. And I do get nipped here right at the line, it looks like, and I end up coming home. I came up home 6th here on the in-ride results, but I believe I was actually 7th in the Zwift power standings later on. But guys, take a look at this right here. Take a look at this watt per kilo screen. You'll see all these guys, above me and around me were all in the lower to mid 4 watt per kilo range. I had to do 5.1 watts per kilo to just, hang in with these guys. And this right here, I mean, that right there fundamentally demonstrates why Criterium races are not my favorite and why I don't target them, because I simply have to do more power to do, equally as well as other, larger, more powerful riders. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. I had fun doing it. Hope you guys picked up some tactics there, and I do have a few minutes left here before I close out the video. After the race, I just basically shoot back over to Watopia to finish up I think I did do like a half an hour of extra endurance. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Zwift Racing Criterium breakdown. Hope you guys found a few tips there that will help you out. But that's how, I usually go through a Criterium when I do them. I don't do them very often. But that's kind of, what my thought process is when I'm going through a Criterium. Again, guys, hope you enjoyed that. I'll look forward to seeing you in my next Zwift Racing breakdown. See you guys later.